Hey guys, what's going on? This is Ken Susi here with the band As I Lay Dying, as well as the former founder of On Earth, also Fluence brand manager, all that good stuff. I am here to talk about what my live rig is right now, some things that I'm liking, as well as a little bit of history lesson as to how I've come here to this point. But I'll just let you know I am a huge fan of real amplifiers. I have a whole collection of them behind me. Angles, 5150, Soldanos, Marshalls, Framus, all the stuff that I've been using over the years, which I know and love. So yeah, I'll always tell you an amp is great, but sometimes when you're a touring musician, you just don't have the space or the capacity to bring a bunch of amplifiers with you. And over the years, I've always just traveled with a bunch of heads and cabs, but there was never a great solution as far as miking up your cabinets on stage, right? In the early 2000s, there was no technology. You might have had some Palmer boxes and things of that nature, but they didn't always sound so great. And then Kemper came along, and I was a very early adopter of that, and it just didn't work out for me. I used it for a little period of time. They sounded okay, but the one thing that was attractive to me is that there was a DI signal that could go out to the front house pretty clean. And if anybody bumped my mic, or if I had an isolation cab somewhere backstage, which is large to bring bring on the road anyway, it was always a hassle, right? So it just didn't sound right. I used it for a little while, especially through a power amp. Didn't do its thing, so I kind of moved on from that. Moved into the Two Notes technology now. Two Notes makes a great product. I was using the Torpedo Live for a number of years, and I absolutely love that unit. Throw a head, cab, that right in the middle of it. Sends a direct signal out to the house, as well as you get live cabs and you don't have to mic them on stage. That was always a great solution for me. But ever since I've been using that, I've been scaling it down a little bit at a time. When I joined As I Lay Dying, they, really wanted to downsize our rig so we can bring out more production, which I'm totally down with. But I was trying to, figure out what is going to be my tone moving forward. How do I get a tone exactly like As I Lay Dying, or something that they've had in the past, or how can I emulate something that really sounds like one of their iconic records? So, I searched around Kemper, Tone X, Fender, Quad Cortex, and I really personally didn't find the solution for me. Because I'm not going to get into why those particular products are I don't think they're great. They make some good products and usable sounds. It's just not for me. So I was having a brief conversation with Mark Lewis, who's a very popular producer, Black Dahlia Murder. He's done Whitechapel, a bunch of records on Earth. I always take his advice when it comes to tone, and he was saying, man, I came across an Axe-Fx and sounds really, really realistic through a power amp. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Haven't tried one in years, but I definitely want to check it out, because if you say it's good, right? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I hit up Matt from Fractal, and he was nice enough to hook me up, get me a unit. And I have as you can see up here in the left-hand corner, I have a Fractal Axe-Fx 3. Torpedo, the Axe-Fx 3 Turbo. And this unit blew me away. Processing speed's really fast. The amplifiers and whatnot. I'm gonna show you sound examples. So I know I'm talking a lot in front of this presentation, but I'm just gonna give you the background, and then I'll give you some tone examples. But the amps inside of this sound really realistic, especially going through a power amp. I can get a DI signal right out to my front house, whether it's mono or stereo, which sounds fantastic. But one of the things that I was really impressed with was the tone matching. And I called Andy Sneap and I said, listen, you made Shadows and Security by, for As I Lay Dying. Can I get just some stems so I can match that guitar tone? And he did one better. He gave me the printed EQ'd stems from the record, so they were actually identical to what was on the album, what you hear, but just isolated. So I was able to go in and create a guitar tone on my Axe-Fx that sounded identical to that particular setup. And the funny part is that it was originally recorded with either a Mesa or a Marshall cab. I know it was like 57, some type of backup mic, but it had a crank Rev 1 as a head, which is not necessarily the most ideal amp. And even Andy kind of laughed about that, but he said, hey, they sounded pretty good, and they still do, and that fit that record. And it's known to be one of As I Lay Dying's best guitar tones. So I was like, you know what? Let's try to use the tone match feature, and I did, and I had some amazing results. Tone matched it, sent it back to Andy Sneap, and said, what do you think? A, B, this is the real, this is what you sent me, this is what Axe-Fx did. And he thought they were pretty darn similar, to the point where he said, hey, I could punch in with this on an album if there was ever a mistake and the amp broke. So that's what I've been touring with. As I Lay Dying likes that tone so much that I believe they threw it on the new record. So it's kind of like a reincarnation. He had a tone of the past, and now it's on a new record, and it sounds fantastic. So I'm really happy with this unit. One of the things I really like is that As I Lay Dying's rig is, we play live, but we have a computer that kind of spits out the click tracks to the drummer. We have in-ear monitoring systems, and they go, and my patches just change as I play and As I Lay Dying. I don't have to touch a foot switch. I don't have to have a guitar tech doing that. And that's one of the luxuries I love about having a Fractal, is just that, it's round robin constantly of my lead patches, filtered patches, all the stuff that I need live. For a long time, we were touring without cabs. And basically, you were getting this amazing album tone right out to the front house. And all my front house engineers were really happy with it. But I said to Phil, and he agreed, hey, we should probably push some air through cabs on stage. And he was like, yeah, no, I agree. We should start doing that. So I built a rig for Europe that is a 6-space rack, no power amp, no nothing. And I'm just pretending that I'm at a festival where normally you'll have an Angle cab, Marshall cab, or Mesa cab, and some type of 5150 or Marshall head. So right now, behind me, I have an Angle cab mic'd with a 57. I have a PV6505 just going straight out of the Axe-Fx and into the return of the amp. So it's just running as power. So I'm pretending I'm at a festival and I have no gear with me. So that is what this presentation is going to be like. But I'm going to most likely tour with an Angle power amp, moving forward, just, in the U.S., just to have the power here, and I don't have to, hope that the venue has something. So anyway, let's get into what I'm doing. Let me show you what my rig looks like. I have some lines of information up here, global lines, and input 1 takes my guitar in, and then this top line of information is what goes to my front house. I have a gate, I have an overdrive, I have an amplifier that is, I started off the Axe Edit doesn't have a rev, but I tone matched with the PV or PVH 6160 lead, used the tone match, and then I used a little bit of corrective EQ because there was a little bit of high frequencies that weren't necessarily super accurate. Somewhere in the 5K range, right? And then the line of information underneath is a split that goes to output, as you can see over here to the right, 3. And it's gate, drive, amp, which is I'm using a Dizzy V4 Blue, or the 5150, the whatever they call it, the 6160 lead is great too. But I'm particularly using this and I'm vibing with it. And I'm using a little bit of corrective EQ. I know this is a little bit extreme, but there's, a couple cuts and a couple boosts in certain places. So that's currently my live rig. Really liking that right now. So that is my tone. This is what I'm currently using live. And I'm going to get into a couple sound clips. And just please bear with me. I'm using Ableton, and Ableton is acting kind of crazy right now. Okay, guys, we're back up and running. Got Ableton working. Sorry about that. So anyway, what you're going to hear now is 2 different voicings, 2 different tones that I made on the Axe-Fx. One is, as I said, goes to the front house. It is the Shadows and Security tone that I tone matched. And check this out. This is tone 1. So that is what you're hearing live every night when you hear me playing. So the other tone that I have going is, right now it's going through this angle cab behind me in 5150 for power. Sounds different for sure, but this is just for my stage volume. This is just for stage, but I'm just showing this because it still sounds good in its own right. So check this out. So as you can see, it's got a little bit more highs, it's got a little bit more fizz, but it's going through a guitar cabinet right here with a 57. No isolation, nothing crazy. But, you know, here in the room, it sounds fantastic. I know it has like a little bit, some artifacts that you would tone, you know, scope, you know, sketch out or whatever with EQ. But all I'm trying to show is that there are usable tones, whether it is that you're using a tone match or you're using, you know, a real power amp through a cab and a real solution. So if you want, I'll do this real quick. Maybe I'll just play like a little bit of like Through Struggle. This one is with, and I'll stop and then I'll start it over with the same song. But this is, yeah, this is going to be the tone. This is going to be the direct signal to the house. So that's tone 1, and that is from my direct signal, and this is tone 2 from the cab. Just mic'd up, no EQ, nothing crazy. We'll play the same little bit. So there you go. That's kind of the tone right there. I'm into it. Like, let me flick through. This is the cap. I'm having problems with. That's what I got going on. Ableton's being terrible to deal with right now. But anyway, I will go through at some point all of the great delays, reverbs, all the amazing stuff, all the features in the Axe effects. But what I really wanted to do was just show you what I'm doing live and show you how versatile this amp is. This is literally all I need to tour with right now, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Thanks, Fractal. Thanks, Angle. Thanks, everybody that supported this video. Guys, I hope this meant something to you, but this is my live rig, and couldn't be happier. I'll see you guys next time.